Hello and welcome back to another episode of the PlantFueled Femme. Today we have one of our Prep Files episodes to you with a guest joining us all the way from the UK. Today we have Helen Webster, who is a figure competitor from the UK with us. Welcome, Helen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Helen, how long have you been competing?
About 5 years in total, although I have only competed for 2 seasons.
Okay, well then that's a long time to pursue things, so you must enjoy competing.
I do, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Yes, I think it takes a special kind of person, to keep to keep going back for more,
Yeah,
essentially. Yeah. So you compete in a smaller organization over in the UK, is that correct?
that's right. Yeah, the NPA, it's the Natural Physique Association.
Okay. And you were saying that they are a natural association.
Yeah, that's right. They only accept competitors who are lifetime natural. So you can't have used any PEDs at any point in your life.
Right. Wow. That's really awesome. Yeah, because I know we have a couple of natural federations over here and they require, I believe it's 7 years, of
Yeah.
not having used any kind of a PED or a banned substance. But lifetime, that's a big commitment to being natural.
It's the only organisation that requires that. We have other natural competitions, and they're similar to the ones you mentioned, about 5 to 7 years, depending on which organisation it's with.
Right. Right. But you chose the lifetime natural one. So that definitely shows that being natural is important to you.
It
Um,
is.
yeah, no, and I think that's really great that there are federations like that because you're not the only one that feels like that. I'm kind of curious. I know, like here, if you go on HRT as a woman and you do replace a testosterone, that disqualifies you from competing naturally here. Does it work the same there?
I haven't actually had to deal with that yet,
Okay.
so I guess I'll find out in future. Um,
Right.
As far as I know, if it's prescribed medication,
Hmm.
they can make exceptions, but I suppose it would depend on the type of medication, the dose, and I'm not sure whether testosterone replacement would be allowed. So I haven't actually looked into that
Right.
at this point.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, and I think a lot of things, I don't know if they're changing there, but like here, the FDA regulations are sort of changing around hormone support for both men and women. So, I mean, what is set now may not apply, down the
Yeah.
road, but we don't know that yet because we haven't gotten to, over that bridge. So we will see. All right. So you compete naturally in a smaller organization in the UK. What category do you compete in, Helen?
I compete in trained figure. The first competition that I did back in 2022, that was the first time I actually got on stage. Uh, the judges advised me to move to toned figure because I wasn't lean enough on the day. I knew
Okay.
absolutely nothing about bodybuilding going into it. I was guessing all the way through. I wasn't lean enough, so I entered toned figure. But this time, I was more in the kind of condition I wanted to be in, and I competed in the trained figure category back in August this year.
Oh, all right. And how did you do in August?
I won a gold medal in the over 40s and a
Nice.
bronze medal in the open category.
All right. Well, that's really good.
So
So,
I was really pleased with that. It was the best that I've looked so far. So next competition, I am aiming for the open class
okay.
win.
Oh, nice. That's a great goal. What's your timeline like for your next competition?
2027.
Okay, good. So
Next
you're giving yourself.
year, I know I don't have time for a prep next year. It takes a huge amount of time commitment, and I'm homeschooling my son, and he has exams next year. So
Oh, wow.
there's
Okay.
no way that I can handle that and a prep at the same time.
Yes. No, I think that's really awesome that you are aware of, just really how much that takes and then having realistic expectations for yourself. I think that really sets you up to have a more successful season for sure.
I'm hoping so. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Yeah. But in the meantime, in the off season, are you still training hard? What's food
Definitely,
look
yeah.
like?
I work as a personal trainer. I work in a small gym. We do group weightlifting classes as well as other types of exercise classes. So I train there and I have weights in my shed at home. So
Oh,
I'm
nice.
definitely still weightlifting 4 times a week, aiming to build some more muscle for the next season.
Right. No, that is fantastic. So building muscle, yes, absolutely. Working out is so important. What does your nutrition look like when you're off season versus when you're going through prep?
I'm quite lucky. I have a very high metabolism. I have a huge amount of muscle mass already, so I can get away with about 3,000 calories a day on maintenance. Currently on a bit more than that. I'm post show and not really paying much attention, to be quite honest. I'm just giving myself a month off from counting everything. So
Yes.
I will have to rein it back in a little bit, obviously.
Right.
But the lowest I went in calories right before the show was about 1,500. That was just for the last couple of weeks.
Right.
So most of prep around about 1,800.
Okay.
So yeah, not ridiculously low.
Right. No, that sounds like a super smart prep, honestly. Yeah, and you're right. The higher you can get your calories in the off season, the better off your prep is going to be.
I'm tall, which I think helps. I'm 5'8",
Nice.
which
Okay. Yeah.
we're really lucky being tall. So, so yeah, I can definitely get away with a few more calories than
Mm.
most competitors.
Yes, no, that's really good. Well, and I think women in general have a tendency to think that they don't need as much food as they actually do. Like there's such a huge fear of food and gaining
Yeah.
weight and even, I was thinking the other day, like when I started this whole journey, I was, when I started bodybuilding and being serious about it, I was like 130 pounds and I had a lot of body fat. I didn't have a lot of muscle yet. And when I step on stage, I'm 130 pounds and the look is entirely different. So therefore, like how do you gauge your progress by the scale? It doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think that's a big fear and a place where women tend to get hung up on is that number on the scale.
What I found really helpful this prep, the gym where I work has an in-body machine.
That is, yes.
So I know what my body fat percentage is, which has been so incredibly helpful. I didn't have that during the first prep.
Okay.
And that made a massive difference to how I arranged my calories and when I dropped calories and things like that. It made a big, big difference knowing the body fat percentage, not just the weight.
Right. No, I love that. We actually just bought an in-body for the house last month. To help my husband, and well, I mean, it makes my life easier than going somewhere else to get the in-body done. Because he's wanting to change his body composition, but the scale is not moving, so he was frustrated. And I was like, well, get the thing so we know how much muscle you have and how much body fat you have. And it has been super helpful for those exact reasons because you can see what your body fat trend is doing. You can see, you know, some people will cut their calories down low and then you start losing muscle. So if you see that, then you need to adjust again based on data that's more important than just how much you weigh.
Yeah, it made such a difference. I feel like this prep was much easier than the last one because I kept changing calories too quickly. The first time I would drop my calories too low and then I'd be absolutely starving and eat too much and then have to drop the calories again. It didn't work as well the first time. I feel like I was much more consistent with food intake this time. It was a lot easier.
Right. Well, that's awesome. So you self-coached for the first show? And did you do
Yeah,
that for the second show as well?
I've self-coached all the way through because
Okay.
I am a personal trainer.
Mhm.
I feel like I'd probably get quite frustrated with someone trying to explain macros and calories to me. I know all that. I don't feel that I need somebody to tell me how to do it. I just need to stick to the plan that I've set, and that's the hardest bit about it.
Oh, yeah, because even if you have a coach, you still have to follow the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think sometimes there's a tendency for people to think too that just because they have a coach, that means they'll be successful. But really, as coaches, as personal trainers, we can write the best plan in the world, but if you don't follow it, you're not
Yeah.
going to have great results. And
Yes.
unfortunately, we can't follow our clients around, right? And say, eat this, do this, go to bed. Yeah. They would, maybe they would have better results, but I don't know. Again, it all comes down to, you know, being responsible with your food and following up.
Yeah, very few lifestyle clients want the kind of precision that we're looking for in bodybuilding anyway.
No, that's very true. That's very
All
true.
of my clients at the moment are lifestyle, though I do have a couple who've mentioned that they're interested in bodybuilding. So I think for the next season that I compete, I'm also going to be coaching a friend of mine who wants to compete at the same time. So
Oh, wow.
that will
Okay.
be like my experiment into bodybuilding coaching. And if that goes well, I will be starting to offer coaching.
Oh, wow.
But
Okay.
that's a long-term plan. That's something that I need to learn. My friend is very much aware that she's the guinea pig for my bodybuilding coaching.
Your test subject.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, coaching someone else through a prep is very different because what applies to our body doesn't necessarily apply to their body. And I think it's smart that you're wanting to learn more and educate yourself more before hopping into that field. I absolutely, it drives me nuts. I actually was talking with this about I can't speak. I've lost all of my words about this with one of my friends, who's also a trainer. And it's like one of the most irritating things in the world where someone will do like one or two shows and then, oh my God, they're a coach. I have this miracle plan and I can fix anything you need in your body. And it's not like they don't have a personal training certification. They don't have a nutrition certification, and they have the experience of doing two shows. Like that is just, it's so, in my opinion, part of the problem inside of our industry.
Yeah, it's quite irresponsible.
It is. It
There
is.
are people who will win a show and then their photo
Exactly.
everywhere. Look, I've won a medal, I can coach you.
Right.
When not necessarily true.
Yes, it is not true. And what they then do is they give you the plan that they followed, that they got from their coach, and it's just going to apply to all of their clients.
Yeah.
Like it's not. Ugh, but that's like a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Awesome. Um, all right. So you keep your macros high. Your training, it sounds really solid. What do you do for cardio, Helen?
Um, I'm not doing much cardio at the moment apart from walking. I have a dog, so I walk every day.
Nice.
During prep, I was using either the stationary bike or a rowing machine. I don't have access to a Stairmaster. I know they're really, really popular with a lot of figure competitors. We don't have one of those. Like I say, it's a very small gym. But we have a row machine, we have a bike. I have a bike at home. So that was the main source of cardio.
Okay. No, I like that. Well, and I think it's important to note too, like you can be successful competing and you don't have to do the stair machine. Like I
Yes.
know that is a preference. I think it's a preference just because like it's low impact, it does burn more calories, but if you don't have to do a ton of cardio and you don't have access to one, it's not like something that you're
Yeah.
missing out on.
I did try running during my first prep, but I find I like running. It just makes me so hungry.
Yeah, yeah,
If
running is a
I just
huge, yeah, it's a
want to.
huge calorie consumption
Mm.
for sure. Yeah. So when you're in prep, do you have a lot of cardio or do you find that the body fat drops pretty easy?
It wasn't too bad. I was only up to half an hour a day,
Awesome.
plus 12,000 steps a day as well. I took 1 day a week where I had a break from cardio.
Okay.
That was the most that I was doing, half an hour.
Right. Okay,
I
that
just
is.
don't have time for more than that.
Mhm.
If I needed any more than that, I would have to drop food rather than increase cardio because I just don't have the time.
Okay, that makes sense. And you have pretty high calories, so that was
Yeah.
feasible too. Good. What are some of your best recovery practices? Because it's another huge part of prep that I think people don't understand.
I stretch a lot. I teach 17 classes a week at the gym. After every class, we do stretching, and I always join in with the stretching to demonstrate to the clients what we're doing. And that really, really helps. So that adds up to a couple of hours a week that I'm stretching. So I'm really lucky that I can do that as part of my job, and it also helps with my recovery. If I'm feeling particularly sore or achy, then I'll do a yoga session on a rest day. I love yoga. I think it's really beneficial. So mostly stretching. If I'm lucky, I might get a massage. I did go for a massage a couple of weeks before the show. That really loosened everything up. It helped with my posing because I was able to open up my lats a lot more when all the knots were out of them.
Yeah, and we do. Towards the end of prep, you just get like so tight. There's just so much inflammation. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, those are some of my favorite things too. I love going to yoga. I usually try to go Sundays at least. I think it's a great stress management tool.
Yeah.
It gives you some downtime. It's not hard. I mean, you could make it hard, I suppose, but you don't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, yeah, just doing things smart, keeping cardio low, keeping food high. Sounds like a really great approach to prep. No wonder you like it.
Yeah, I didn't find it terrible. I was very, very tired by the end.
Yes. Oh my God, yeah.
Because my job is quite physical. I don't sit down at all the whole time that I'm at work. I'm demonstrating weightlifting exercises,
Yes.
doing the warm up and the stretches with the clients. And I've got 3 children, and I have to walk my dog every day. There's a lot of things that have to be done that I can't drop when I get tired. So it was really, really exhausting the last few weeks.
Right. I think that's true for anybody. It doesn't matter, how high you're able to keep your calories. You're still in a deficit that your body feels is kind of extreme. And you're right. There's so many things that we can't stop caring for the kids or husband or getting groceries or doing laundry. All of
So
those things.
things.
Yeah, they don't stop. So you have to just keep up with a lot, and it is exhausting. Did you have any problems with sleep at all for the last few weeks of prep?
I kept waking up with pins and needles down one leg. That was the one weird sleep thing that I had. I don't know if it's just because there wasn't much fat on me. I felt like even lying on a soft mattress, I could feel my hip bones.
Oh yeah.
I think it was just something was pressing on a nerve if I rolled onto my side, and I kept waking up with pins and needles. So
Right.
that was annoying. I
Sure.
didn't have trouble actually getting to sleep. It was
Okay,
more
that's
that I
great.
wake up with that, or sometimes with cramp in my leg.
Oh yeah, the cramping can be a thing too, for sure. And that's just overtraining and lack of nutrients. uh, well, it sounds like overall prep is pretty good for you. I think you have a super smart approach to it. I love that you're a trainer and you want to help other people too. I think that's fantastic. Is there anything like super specific that you wanted to share with our audience? Like maybe they don't realize something about competing or something that you've learned along the way that you think is valuable for other women to know?
I think a lot of bodybuilding coaches recommend extremely high protein levels, and I've found it's not absolutely necessary. Um, when I dropped calories, I was on about 120 grams of protein per day, which doesn't sound very much. There's plenty of people on over 200 grams a day. But according to the in-body machine, which I was checking regularly, I wasn't losing muscle at all throughout the prep. So I don't think it's necessary to be quite as high on protein as everybody thinks it is.
So with it being 120 grams, what did that come out to per pound of body weight?
I was my stage weight was 145 pounds.
Okay.
So we tend to work in stones over here, and
Oh,
also
stones. Okay.
the
Yeah.
in-body machine gives me kilos, so I'm trying to put that into pounds. It was 145 pounds, 10 stone 5. So that was the absolute leanest that I got. So
like between 0.8 and 0.9 grams.
it was less than at the lowest point it was less than 1 gram per pound.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because we'll keep protein, around that range for our lifestyle clients, especially like, if they're over 40, they just seem to need the extra protein. But during competition, we usually try to keep the protein higher, like a little over 1 point something, depending on that particular athlete. But yeah, 200 grams of protein for a girl that weighs 140 pounds is a lot of protein.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, that's good. You found like a happy medium.
Yeah, I think being vegan, every protein source comes with carbs. So carbs are always going to be higher if you're vegan.
Right.
I think there aren't very many, unless you're only using protein supplements, powders and things like that. Most of the protein sources coming from plants are going to come with carbs. So carbs are always going to be a higher percentage of your diet if you're vegan.
Right. That's very, very true. And honestly, for women, anyhow, we should have carbs a little bit higher because they do help, to buffer stress, and they do actually help to repair muscle. And I think that's a concept that's, not often recognized, and everybody does tend to gravitate more towards, protein for recovery, but you do need the carbohydrates.
And also, I just love carbs. I can't do that. I tried low carb once and I was so grumpy. I think I did it for about 2 days and thought, no way, this is definitely not for me.
Yeah, no, I know they're so necessary. I always, like, if I drop mine too low, I get so tired. Like, I can't even think, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
No, carbs are absolutely vital for sure. Definitely. I know. Personally, I tend to eat probably more fats than I should. But yeah, carbohydrates are super valuable for recovery. They actually play somewhat of a role in hormone balance too. And I guess that's something we didn't touch on. Did you have any problems hormonally when you were competing?
None at all, no. I did look up how many grams of fat are required for proper hormone functioning. So I made sure not to go below 45 grams of fat in a day, which is perhaps another reason that my protein was a little bit lower than other competitors, because I'm not cutting fat super low.
No,
so I did make sure to keep that at 45 grams or higher.
Okay. Yeah, that is super smart. Yeah, because you're right. When we do cut fats too low, we see hormone dysregulation because fat is needed for hormone transportation, hormone manufacturing. Awesome. And you honestly, it's spoke so often in the bodybuilding circles that it's normal to lose your period when you're going through prep, but I've never lost mine, and none of my clients have ever lost theirs. Occasionally, if we're doing more than one show, I've had girls where their cycle is maybe a week late, but it shows up. It doesn't go away. And I think that's due partly, like you said, to keeping carbs higher, but also keeping fat in.
Yeah, it's really important. I will say I wasn't quite as lean as some of the other competitors at the show. This is why I got the bronze medal in the open category. So my body fat percentage was around about 14, and I think to be in a winning position that would need to be closer to about 10. So perhaps getting down that low would be the point at which hormones would be disrupted, but I don't know. I haven't got to that yet.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure either, honestly, because I compete at about 10%. And I just haven't been able to get lower. We'll see what happens next year, but I think, you know, your body, it does start fighting back because that's super low body fat, so it's going to push back. Yeah, but now I'm like old enough, my period's all over the place anyhow, so who would know? Who would know? Not me. But I do think, you know, you're right that as you do get into like single digits, it probably, you know, your body will at some point shut off. It's like, hey, this is not a safe environment to make a baby, and so we're going to remove that just in case you're dumb enough to do that.
Definitely did not have the energy for anything approaching
No.
pregnancy. Yeah, I could not imagine trying to go through morning sickness at that level of body fat. That's just
No, that would be awful. That would be awful.
it would.
So your body's just protecting you. That's what it does in all situations, honestly. It's trying to protect you. Well, I thank you for bringing up, you know, the whole point about protein and fats and carbohydrates. I love that. Was there anything you wanted to add that we didn't have a chance to go over?
Nothing that springs to mind. No, I think that was everything about the prep, wasn't it?
I think. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Helen. I truly appreciate it. I was happy to have you on the show. Oh, hey, if anyone wanted to follow your bodybuilding and competing journey, could they find you on social media somewhere?
No, they can't. I do have a YouTube channel with 9,000 subscribers, but it has nothing to do with fitness. I'm an English teacher.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I teach English as a foreign language, which is something I did before qualifying as a personal trainer. And that's what I've continued to do online while working in person as a PT. So, so I'm afraid my YouTube channel has absolutely nothing to do with fitness.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess we'll have to just check back for updates.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said 2027 is your next competition.
That's the one. Yeah. Okay. I will definitely be competing then.
Awesome. Well, best of luck to you, Helen. If you need anything along the way, feel free to reach out. But thank you again for joining us today. It was a pleasure to have you on the show, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you.